Hey guys, welcome to the first episode of a brand new series of content that I'm going to be covering, which is daily crypto and macro news. I aim to keep these short and concise and essentially just a way for me to keep to collate and share the daily news and research that comes across my desk every morning. Further to that, as an Australian, I aim to add as much relevant Australian-based macro news content as well. So if you're interested in staying up to date with what's happening across crypto and macro in economics, hopefully you'll find this content useful. So let's get into it. So for crypto news today, we've got Apple to enable crypto payments for tap to pay by the end of 2022, which is massive news. So they're going to enable their tap to pay feature for iPhones, which enables millions of users to have access to Apple Pay at millions of merchants. I think 90% of retail merchants in the US enable Apple Pay functionality. So it should be good for adoption, just more adoption as the year continues on. El Salvador has released their launch date for their Bitcoin bond, which is scheduled for March. So that's massive news as well. So the Salvadorian finance minister expects the offering to be oversubscribed by an additional 500 million. So it looks like there's going to be pretty strong demand for that when it launches next month. The Washington Nationals create the Terra, which is one of the largest DAOs, decentralized autonomous organizations, have done a sort of world first sports partnership deal with the Washington Nationals. So Terra strikes sponsorship deal with Major League Baseball's Washington Nationals. So Terra DAO has established a 5-year, $40 million partnership, which is going to include branding and a whole bunch of other things, right? But what is notable with this is the addition of UST, which is the DeFi, stablecoin token, which is native to the Terra ecosystem. So that's going to be implemented as actual accepted currency and payment at their park venue from next season. So it's pretty bullish on the Terra ecosystem. So this one is Somun, which is the index product provider, has made a play for Solana with its Soli token launch. So if you're bullish on the Solana ecosystem, this looks like a pretty good play. So it's just an index token which delivers low-cost, diversified exposure to the top projects on the Solana ecosystem. But sort of the value add to this product being that it's also capturing a 6% staking yield on Solana as well. So I think they are going to waive the management fee of, I think it's 1.5% for the rest of 2022. So yeah, it looks like a pretty solid play if you're bullish on Solana. McDonald's and Panera Bread file trademarks for virtual restaurants in the Metaverse. So two major US-based food chains have filed trademark registrations to build virtual restaurants and sell other digital assets in the Metaverse. So yeah, it's pretty crazy news, really. Panera Bread trademark registration concerns NFTs to facilitate commercial transactions of virtual food and beverages, as well as computer programs to access such tokens in the Metaverse. So it's crazy stuff. Further to that, Decentraland Metaverse is holding a Fashion Week launch, which is going to happen next month. Visitors and brands alike have the opportunity to experience the virtual fashion show attend after parties and concerts and buy and wear digital clothing for their avatars, right? They've got a whole host of brands that are going to show their fashion. So Hugo Boss was the first to announce its participation in the Metaverse Fashion Week. Metaverse is clearly the buzz at the moment, and seems to be going from strength to strength in mainstream adoption. If you're interested in getting exposure to that market in a broad sense, you can look at Index Coop have a Metaverse index token which you can buy, which essentially just holds the top Metaverse projects in an index. So there's that if you're interested. Moving on over to market sentiment. So after its lows of the last few months, we've sort of hit a bit of a dead cat bounce, I suppose, and market sentiment has turned neutral. So with the markets bouncing off their lows, the sentiment has moved away from extreme fear. So we're sort of headed back to bullish sentiment in the Bitcoin and broader crypto markets. But that's sort of taken a bit of a hit overnight, with the US coming out with 7.5% on an annual basis inflation. So inflation's now way more than expected, than that 2 to 3% band that they were chasing, and it's the highest since 1982. So the consumer price index for all items rose 60 basis points in January, driving up inflation by 7.5%, which is massive. So core inflation rose 6%. It's just huge numbers. And as you can see, like the price increases over last year in the CPI report, so used cars up 40%, fuel up 40%, gas and utilities up 24%, new cars up 12%. These are massive numbers all over the economy. So Coke and Pepsi are warning of inflation bite as higher prices lift their sales. So they're getting a bit of pushback from consumers, but investors, obviously see it a bit different. So in the Australian front, the ASX, to lift as business leaders bet on 2022 rate hike. So as the US firms to have a 50 basis point rate hike for the next meeting, it's looking probable now that Australia is going to have a rate hike in 2022 as well. So sentiment's changing around the fact that we've pushed it from 2024 to recently 2023. It's looking probable now that we're going to get a rate hike in Australia in 2022. So the Australian Bureau of Statistics, their latest release on their consumer price index. So in Australia, our CPI rose 1.3% this quarter. So over the past 12 months to December 2021, we rose 3.5%. Right? So, whether you believe the ABS data or not, it's way higher than, than it has been for a long time. And you can see it right across the market, right? So residential property prices, these are the figures that were updated, start of December. So, they rose 5% in a quarter to take it over nearly 22% gains for the 12-month period, right? Like, it's insane. Leading that into the cost of building, right? So construction costs surge. Yeah, construction costs surge tipped to push up residential property prices even further. So the biggest surge in construction costs in 16 years would obviously translate to higher new builds the building cost rose 7.3% in the last year, right, which is the highest annual growth rate since March 2005. Global food staples. So prices have risen 31.3% year on year. So in real terms, food prices are closing in on record highs last seen in the mid-1970s. Shoppers slammed Coles and Woolies over a sudden soft drink price increase. I mean, I happen to notice this as well. Things are just going up in price. Every second week you go and do your groceries, right? So Mandurah residents are skipping meals as the cost of groceries are increasing. So this is having a real impact in the broader economy, and is going to continue to do so over the next foreseeable future. So if you're looking to get exposure to these types of plays in the market, so agricultural commodity ETFs might be something that you're looking at. The coffee index performance over 1 year is 71%, which is insane. And similar to corn's up 35%. So you might want to look at, hedging your portfolio, across agricultural commodities over the next year or so. Further, iShares, they've got their global consumer staples ETF in Australia. So IXI is a ticker. So in the second half of 2018, this fund was converted to an Aussie domicile ETF. So you don't have to do the W8 Ben form for US tax compliance. So if you're interested, that's a good play. And that is the wrap for today, guys. So if you like the content, I plan on doing these daily. I pretty much go over this stuff every morning. So this is just a way to collate that data and hopefully share it with some people that get some value out of it. So if you do like the content, please like and subscribe and leave a comment down below. And if you'd like more info on me, I have a weekly newsletter that I'm just launching in tandem with this channel. So I'll just essentially do like a once a week newsletter where I'll do a bit of a deep dive on one particular topic and just surmise my research from the week. And if you're interested, you can jump over to fireinvestor.io and grab a copy of my book. There's also links to $50 of free Bitcoin, amongst other things. Some other things on here as well. So if that's of interest to you, go and check that out. Otherwise, I will see you in the next one. Cheers.